The summit. The celestial nexus station hung in the void between the Andromeda and Milky Way galaxies, its crystalline structure reflecting the light of 1,000 distant stars. For millennia, it had served as neutral ground for the most powerful civilizations in known space. Every 50 years, the Galactic Defense Summit convened here, a tradition older than most species-written histories. Captain Alina Reyes stood alone at the observation deck, watching as alien vessels of various designs and capabilities approached the station. Earth had never been invited to the summit before. Humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel 37 years ago, making them infants in the eyes of the galactic community. Yet here she was, representing the United Earth Defense Force at the most prestigious military gathering in known space. The station's AI chimed softly. "Captain Rice, the opening ceremony begins in 10 minutes. Your presence is requested in the Grand Exhibition Hall." Elena straightened her Navy uniform, the single silver star on each shoulder catching the light. "Thank you. I'm on my way." As she walked through the station's sweeping corridors, Elena felt the stares of alien delegates, some curious, others dismissive. She had been briefed extensively about the 5 major powers she would encounter today, civilizations that had dominated galactic politics for millennia. The Grand Exhibition Hall was a massive dome of transparent alloy, offering a panoramic view of space. 5 ornate seats were arranged on a raised platform, with smaller chairs for lesser delegates surrounding them. Elena was directed to one of the smallest seats, positioned far from the center. The Summit Arbiter, a being of pure energy contained within a hovering metallic orb, floated to the center of the hall. "We gather once more to maintain the balance of power that preserves galactic peace. For the first time, we welcome representatives from Earth who have recently joined our interstellar community." A murmur rippled through the assembled delegates, and Elena nodded respectfully when eyes turned to her. "We will begin with presentations from our established powers," the Arbiter continued. "High Admiral Zorx of the Veclari Dominion, you may proceed." A tall, slender being with blue-gray skin and 3 vertical eyes stood gracefully. Intricate patterns of bioluminescence pulsed across his face as he spoke. "The Veclari have guarded galactic peace for 20,000 years. Today, I present the culmination of our defensive philosophy." With a gesture, he activated the central hologram. A sleek vessel appeared, its surface shifting like liquid metal. "The Phantom Veil," Zorx announced proudly. "Our newest stealth destroyer. Its adaptive camouflage renders it completely undetectable to all known sensor technologies. It can enter enemy territory, deploy precision strikes, and vanish without ever being seen." The hologram showed the ship fading from view until it was completely invisible. The audience murmured appreciatively. "No defense is needed," Zorx concluded, "when the enemy cannot find you to attack." Elena watched attentively, taking mental notes as Zorx returned to his seat with a self-satisfied expression. Next rose a massive being with crimson scales and 4 muscular arms, each adorned with ceremonial battle scars. "War Matron Krell of the Bracken Hegemony," announced the Arbiter. Krell's voice boomed through the hall without need for amplification. "The Bracken believe true power lies not in hiding, but in overwhelming force." The hologram shifted to display a massive dreadnought, easily 10 times larger than the Veclari vessel. "The World Breaker," Krell proclaimed, "the largest battleship ever constructed. Its main cannon can fracture a planet's crust from orbit. No fleet has ever withstood direct confrontation with a Bracken armada." The demonstration showed the behemoth firing at an uninhabited moon, cracking it into fragments. Gasps echoed through the chamber. "Strength is security," Krell growled, returning to her seat with heavy footsteps that made the platform vibrate. The third presenter was an insectoid being with iridescent chitin and compound eyes that reflected the room in countless facets. "Hive Strategist 6 of the Mikra Collective," the Arbiter announced. 6 approached with precise movements. "The collective believes true power lies in coordination and adaptability." His voice was a rhythmic clicking translated by the station's systems. The hologram displayed thousands of small craft, moving in perfect synchronization. The swarm network. Each vessel is individually simple, but together they form a unified intelligence that can outmaneuver any conventional fleet. They can reconfigure for any tactical situation and sacrifice individual units without compromising the whole. The demonstration showed the swarm forming complex patterns, dispersing under simulated attacks, then reforming without losing cohesion. Many can achieve what one cannot. 6 concluded, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. Forth came a being that appeared to be composed of living stone, with crystalline growths protruding from its shoulders and head. Grand Sentinel Drac of the Lithic Concordance, the Arbiter intoned. Drac moved with deliberate slowness to the center. The Concordance believes that impenetrable defense is the ultimate deterrent. The hologram showed a spherical vessel encased in overlapping hexagonal shields. The Aegis Sphere. Its layered quantum barriers can withstand any known weapon in the galaxy. It has never been breached in battle, despite countless attempts. The demonstration displayed various weapons, energy beams, kinetic projectiles, even exotic matter, all dissipating harmlessly against the shields. What cannot be harmed cannot be defeated, Drac rumbled, the crystals on his body glowing with pride. The final presenter glided forward, a being of translucent flesh with visible neural pathways pulsing with blue light. Fought Admiral Nivix of the Pshun Conclave, announced the Arbiter. Nivix's voice seemed to manifest directly in the minds of all present. The Conclave believes that true victory comes not from destructive capability, but from domination of consciousness. The hologram showed an elegant vessel with no visible weapons. The Mindweaver. It projects psychic fields that can disrupt neural patterns across vast distances. Enemy crews surrender without a single shot being fired, their will to fight dissolved by subtle influence. The demonstration showed simulated enemy vessels powering down as their crews fell into states of confusion or compliance. Why destroy what you can convert? Nivix concluded with a serene smile. When the 5 presentations concluded, the Arbiter turned toward Elena. Now we welcome Earth's contribution. Captain Reyes, please share your species' achievement. Elena walked calmly to the center as whispers and subtle laughter rippled through the audience. She stood straight, her expression betraying no intimidation despite the technological marvels she had just witnessed. Thank you for your impressive demonstrations, she said. Earth appreciates the invitation to this historic gathering. Where is your hologram, human? Interrupted Zorx. Or do you need assistance with our technology? Elena smiled slightly. Earth's contribution to this summit is still en route. It will arrive tomorrow morning. Laughter echoed more openly now. Krell leaned forward, her massive form dwarfing Elena. Your ship is late. Perhaps your primitive propulsion systems are not as reliable as you thought. Not late, Elena replied evenly. Precisely on schedule. We believe in practical demonstrations rather than simulations. What could Earth possibly demonstrate that would compare to what we've seen today? 6's mandibles clicked rapidly in what seemed to be amusement. Your species has barely left its solar system. Elena looked around the room, meeting the gaze of each alien leader without flinching. Sometimes, the youngest children have the most to teach. With that enigmatic statement, she returned to her seat. As the session adjourned, the 5 alien commanders gathered, watching Elena leave the chamber. Did you see how she showed no reaction to our technologies? Zorx said. Either humans are too primitive to comprehend what they witnessed, or what? Asked Drac, crystalline structures glowing with skepticism. Nivix's neural pathways pulsed thoughtfully, or they have something they believe will impress us, which seems highly improbable. We'll see tomorrow, Krell said dismissively. Though I suspect we'll all be greatly underwhelmed. None of them noticed the small smile on Elena's face as she sent a secure communication from her neural implant. Stage set. Bring in Prometheus at 800 hours. It's time to show them what Earth can do. The revelation. The observation deck of the celestial Nexus station buzzed with anticipation the following morning. Word had spread quickly about the humans' bold claim, drawing a much larger crowd than expected. The 5 alien commanders positioned themselves at the front, their postures conveying a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Captain Alina Reyes stood apart from them, her gaze fixed on the empty space beyond the station. She checked her neural interface. 7:59 hours. Right on schedule. Perhaps your ship got lost in transit, Zork suggested, his 3 eyes blinking in sequence. Navigating between stars can be challenging for inexperienced species. Alina merely smiled. Watch the coordinates I provided. Any moment now. I detect no approach vectors. 6 clicked, his compound eyes scanning the void. No propulsion signatures, no dimensional disturbances. Good, Alina replied simply. The station's chronometer reached 800 hours. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, space itself seemed to ripple, as if reality were a pond into which someone had dropped a stone. The distortion expanded, forming what appeared to be a tear in the fabric of space-time itself. What is that? Demanded Krell, her 4 arms instinctively moving to defensive positions. Before anyone could answer, something began to emerge from the rift. First came the bow, massive, angular, and unlike any design the aliens had ever seen. As more of the vessel appeared, gasps and exclamations filled the observation deck. The human ship dwarfed even the Bracken dreadnought by at least 3 times. Its hull was composed of overlapping plates that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light, giving it a distinctive matte black appearance, interrupted only by subtle blue energy lines, tracing complex patterns across its surface. I present the UES Prometheus, Alina announced, her voice carrying easily through the suddenly silent chamber. Earth's first intergalactic heavy dreadnought. The ship continued to emerge from the spatial rift for nearly a full minute, revealing weapon systems, landing bays, and engine arrays of shocking complexity. When it finally completed its transition, the rift collapsed behind it with a flash of blue light. Impossible, whispered Drac, crystalline formations dimming in shock. No species your age could construct something of this magnitude. More importantly, added Nivix, neural pathways pulsing rapidly. How did it arrive? That was no conventional FTL transition. Alina turned to face the 5 commanders. The Prometheus uses what we call quantum fold drive technology. It doesn't travel through space. It temporarily folds space around itself, allowing instantaneous transition between any 2 points. Such technology would require energy outputs beyond anything we've achieved. Zorx protested, his bioluminescent patterns flashing with agitation. Perhaps for your civilization, Alina replied, but not for ours. The station's AI announced, incoming transmission from UES Prometheus. A holographic projection appeared in the center of the observation deck. A man with dark skin and silver-streaked hair materialized, wearing a uniform similar to Alina's but with additional insignia. Greetings from Earth. I am Admiral Marcus Chen, commanding officer of the Prometheus. Captain Rise, I trust our arrival was well-timed. Alina nodded. Perfect timing. Admiral, our hosts were just expressing their surprise at our capabilities. Chen smiled. I imagine so. We're preparing for the demonstration. Shall we proceed? Please do, Alina replied. The Admiral nodded and vanished. Moments later, sections of the Prometheus's hull began to transform. Plates shifted and reconfigured, revealing weapon systems of various designs and functions. The Prometheus carries modular adaptive armaments, Alina explained. It can reconfigure its offensive and defensive systems to counter any threat or tactical situation. A series of small objects detached from the massive vessel, quickly arranging themselves in a sphere around it. Autonomous defense drones, Alina continued, each carrying the computational power of what would have been a supercomputer a century ago. They coordinate with the Prometheus to form an integrated defense network. You've achieved drone swarm technology as well. 6 clicked, mandibles working furiously. We've improved upon it, Alina corrected. Watch. The drones began to generate energy fields that connected to form a translucent barrier around the ship. Unlike the hexagonal shields of the lithic vessel, this barrier seemed to flow like liquid, constantly shifting and adapting. "Our fluid response shield system," Elena said. "It analyzes incoming attacks and redirects energy to the point of impact milliseconds before contact." Drax's crystalline growths dimmed further. "That's more advanced than your static barrier system." "Yes," Elena finished for him. Krell stepped forward, her massive form radiating controlled fury. "Impressive technology, human, but what of offensive capability? The Bracken World Breaker can shatter planets." Elena nodded. "Admiral Chen, if you would demonstrate our primary weapons system on the designated asteroid." The hologram showed a large asteroid approximately 1,000,000 kilometers from the station, a section of the Prometheus's hull reconfigured to reveal what appeared to be multiple focusing arrays arranged in concentric rings. "The Prometheus carries what we call a graviton cascade cannon," Elena explained. "Rather than destroying targets with conventional energy or kinetic impacts, it manipulates the fundamental forces binding matter together." The arrays began to glow with blue-white energy, power visibly building within the concentric rings. Then, with surprising subtlety, a barely visible distortion shot forth from the ship toward the asteroid. When it struck, the massive rock didn't explode as expected. Instead, it seemed to collapse in on itself, compressing to a fraction of its original size before imploding completely, leaving nothing but dust that was quickly drawn into a temporary miniature singularity before dissipating into nothingness. Silence fell over the observation deck. "The graviton cascade doesn't just destroy targets," Elena said into the quiet. "It temporarily alters the gravitational constant in a localized area. The target effectively destroys itself through instant gravitational collapse. No shields, no matter how advanced, can protect against a fundamental change to the laws of physics themselves." "How?" Zorx finally asked, his three eyes wide with disbelief. "How has your species developed such technology in mere decades when ours have had millennia?" Elena's expression grew solemn. "Because we had to." She gestured for them to follow her to a private conference room adjacent to the observation deck. Once the 5 alien commanders were seated, Elena activated a holographic display showing Earth's history. "While your civilizations were exploring the stars in relative harmony, humanity was fighting for its very survival on a single planet," she began. "In our history, we fought over 15,000 recorded wars. In just the past 3 centuries, we developed from primitive projectile weapons to nuclear arsenals that could have destroyed our world many times over." Images flash showing the progression of human warfare, from muskets to machine guns, from biplanes to stealth bombers, from basic explosives to thermonuclear weapons. "Necessity drove our innovation," Elena continued. "We learned to build better weapons because failing meant extinction. We perfected military technology because we had no choice. While your species were collaborating across the stars, we were testing our limits against each other." "That's barbaric," whispered Nivix, neural pathways pulsing with disturbed patterns. "That's survival," Elena corrected. "And when we finally unified and looked to the stars, we brought that same intensity with us. We compressed 1,000 years of development into decades because that's what humans do when challenged." Krell leaned forward, her expression showing newfound respect. "You're saying that conflict made you stronger?" "I'm saying that conflict forced us to innovate in ways peace never could," Elena replied. "Your civilizations have been stable for millennia. That's admirable. But stability rarely drives the kind of desperate innovation that survival demands." Before any of the aliens could respond, the station's alarm system activated. "Alert! Unknown hostile vessels detected approaching the Nexus." Defense protocols initiated. The commanders rushed back to the observation deck to see 3 massive ships of unfamiliar design dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Their hulls bristled with weapons already powering up for attack. "Krelax raiders," Drac rumbled, crystalline structures flashing with concern. They must have learned of our gathering. All our military leadership in one place. A tempting target. Our vessels are in defensive positions around the station. Zorks said quickly, but they're scattered. It will take time to coordinate a response. The raiders opened fire, energy weapons striking the station's shields with devastating force. The entire structure shuddered. Station shields at 64% and falling, announced the AI. Breach imminent. The 5 alien commanders moved to contact their respective ships, but Elena was already speaking into her neural interface. Admiral Chen, Code Aegis, full defensive deployment. Acknowledged, Captain, came the immediate response. The Prometheus moved with shocking speed for its size, positioning itself between the station and the raiders. Its modular weapons systems reconfigured on the fly, and its drone network expanded to encompass the station itself. "What are you doing?" demanded Tix. "Your vessel cannot withstand 3 Krelax warships alone." "Watch," Elena replied calmly. As the raiders fired again, the energy barrage was caught by the fluid shield system, which seemed to absorb rather than deflect the impacts. Simultaneously, the Prometheus launched a counterattack, not with its main graviton weapon, but with precision strikes from secondary systems that targeted the raiders' weapon emplacements with surgical accuracy. No collateral damage, Elena explained as the raiders' weapons went dark one by one. The graviton cascade would be overkill. These are criminals, not planetary threats. Within minutes, the Krelax vessels were effectively disarmed, their engines disabled by targeted electromagnetic pulses from the Prometheus's auxiliary systems. "Threat neutralized," announced Admiral Chen through the holographic interface. "Station security forces can proceed with boarding and arrest procedures." The 5 alien commanders stared at Elena in stunned silence. "Had your ships coordinated an attack," Elena said quietly, "these raiders might have caused significant damage before being subdued." The Prometheus was designed to operate independently because Earth learned long ago that centralized defense is vulnerable to decapitation strikes. Zorks was the first to approach her, his 3 eyes blinking in what appeared to be a gesture of respect. "It seems we have much to learn from Earth after all." "As do we from you," Elena replied diplomatically. "No civilization holds all wisdom." Krell laughed, a booming sound that filled the chamber. "I like humans. You look soft but fight hard." "The collective would be interested in technological exchange," Six added, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "Your drone network integration surpasses our own." As the station settled back into normal operations, the 5 alien commanders gathered around Elena, their previous condescension replaced by genuine curiosity and respect. Questions flowed freely now, not as challenges but as requests for insight. Admiral Chen's hologram reappeared. "Captain Reyes, shall I prepare for diplomatic protocols? It seems we've made quite an impression." Elena smiled, looking around at the gathered alien leaders who now viewed humanity not as primitive newcomers but as worthy equals. "Yes, Admiral, I believe we have."